Ladies and gentlemen, I had a very busy day today, and I did not even know until literally like 30 minutes ago that the Wicked for Good trailer dropped. I was a huge fan and proponent of the first film that came out last year, getting nominated for 10 Academy Awards, winning two pretty prestigious awards for production design and costume design. And I have not even attempted to hide my affinity and perhaps crush on Ariana Grande. So I am thrilled to see how they wrap this whole thing up with For Good. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the garage. Gerald here with you, of course. I'm going to watch the Wicked for Good trailer right now. I have not seen it, and I'm a little nervous. I hope that John M. Chu and the team can land this movie, because if they do, I think it will be prominent once again during award season. I currently have it predicted for Best Picture, as well as Arrivo and Grande in their acting categories. And I also have Jonathan Bailey at number 6, which would put him at the very first runner-up position for being nominated. So I'm thinking very highly of this picture, and that doesn't even include the technical awards that I think it'll get nominated for, like original song, because I know there are some new ones. Let's bring the trailer in, and we'll give this thing a go. We'll watch it together. Let's see what we're dealing with here, guys. Here we go. God love her.
Alpha Throp, I know you're out here. Just come in before the monkeys spot you.
There's no going back. This is between us, the wizard and I.
Wizard and I, huh? Sounds familiar. Gotta love her. Queen for sure.
Witch can't elude us forever. Not with Prince Fiero and his squadron hot on her trail.
No good deed goes unpunished. That's my creed.
The wonderful Wizard of Oz. No one believed in you more than I did.
Alphaba. They're coming for you.
Oh shit. Elphaba got a glow up, y'all. I like that look. It's for good. I bet.
I know I'm who I am today because I knew you.
Love that shot.
Think of what we could do together.
I am.
Like a comet pulled from orbit as it passes the sun. Like a seed dropped by a skybird in a distant world. Who can say I've been changed for the better?
Bridge in the room of the Wicked Witch of the West.
We still didn't see Dorothy. You notice that?
For a while there, I thought you changed.
I have changed.
Elphaba looking fucking good though.
It's time. For both of us.
To fly! Because I knew you.
You're the only friend I ever had.
Because I knew you.
And I've had so many friends.
I have been changed for good.
But only one that mattered.
I'm off to see the wizard.
Hell yeah, you are. What did I say? November 21st? All right, let me give you some quick thoughts here. I think it looks good. I think it looks good. What happened? Okay, just so you guys know, this is like 10:30 at night Eastern time. I don't even know when this trailer came out time-wise. I haven't researched it. So I went on Twitter to share something when I got home about an hour ago. We had a baseball game tonight. When I got home, I went on Twitter to share a post, and the first like 5 things in my feed were about the Wicked for Good trailer. And I was like, oh my God. And I like exited Twitter immediately because I didn't want to see other people's opinions about it before I watched it and gave you my opinion. But I will say I was inherently by default kind of worried. Now, the reason being, I love the musical. I've seen it a few times on stage, and I know that that second act of the musical, or at least I presume, is going to be a lot harder to adapt to screen. There's a lot of weird shit that goes on in the second half of the musical that's not really like the first half. The first half is more of like a fun going to college, kind of meeting all of the characters. We have our two, actually more really big numbers that are pretty upbeat and peppy in that first act. And a lot of people, and I think probably deservedly so, think the first act is the better act of the two. The second act is much more dramatic, much darker, but there is a lot of weird, surrealistic, like strange elements in the second act of the film. And I don't really want to say any specific ones right now, because if for some reason people have not seen the musical and they're going to see the movies, it would be a huge spoiler if because it's going to be an adaptation. So I would assume they're going to at least bring most of it over for the film. But with some of these characters kind of turning and being much different in terms of like their arc from that first film, we saw hints of it in the trailer there, especially towards the end of that trailer, like the last 30 seconds. It looked like maybe they weren't friends anymore. Like it was kind of like they were like, "Look, bitch," like they were kind of, I guess. Black Panther did it, but I think production design and costumes are still right there in their grasp. I mean, honestly, would not be in the least bit shocked if it won 2 years in a row for those prizes. Definitely in terms of a nomination. But I did sense that Ariana was maybe still kind of doing the comedic, like, "Oh shucks, blonde bombshell" kind of bit, which I love. But then, and if you know the musical, you know this, but she goes deeper and gets darker. And then Elphaba, as this outcast in this second half, really the whole thing, but definitely in the second half of the musical, and they're chasing her down. She's on the run. She's trying to do good. They don't really care. She's the one that they're putting up as like, this is evil. If we get rid of this, the land will be fine, and whatever, whatever. And I saw her being a little more, I guess, unsympathetic to that arc, which I kind of like, where she's kind of like giving it back to Glinda. I got hints of it. Another thing I want to mention about the trailer is I was looking for the Wizard of Oz stuff, and we obviously saw it. There was a shot of the Yellow Brick Road, which I actually had seen a still of that on IMDb a few months ago, and I thought that was really cool. Again, adding to the production design element. We saw a clip that we've kind of already seen, that of the crew, Dorothy and her three buddies walking on the Yellow Brick Road. But then when they're in front of the wizard, and it's essentially the scene from the Wizard of Oz, when he's like, "Bring me the broomstick of the Wicked Witch, and I'll grant your wishes." So are we going to see a recreation of that scene? That really intrigues me. But also John M. Chu, I know he's going to kind of tread lightly with that, because we're talking about one of the pillars of cinematic history in The Wizard of Oz from 1939. So obviously you want to be careful with that material and just kind of use it, but not necessarily remake it, if that makes sense. And I think he's going to try to do that. But we didn't see Dorothy, and we still haven't. I mean, we've seen her dress, which is pretty true to what we expect, but we didn't see the actress. We didn't see the depiction of Dorothy. We did see a close-up, I think, of the Cowardly Lion, right, which is CG. Visual effects, it didn't look too bad in the trailer. In the first one, I was like kind of, and I know this has been beaten to death as far as cinematography and the colors. Oh my God. This is the most colorful movie I've ever seen in my life, the first one, to its detriment, I think. But the cinematography and the visual effects, I was a little, iffy on in the first one. I think possibly, I can't really speak to the cinematography quite yet, but the visual effects I thought looked okay in the trailer. There's that scene of Elphaba flying on the broom through the woods. Obviously, we have the monkeys in there, the Cowardly Lion for visual effects. It looked okay. I wasn't cringing. Let's put it that way. I'm keeping everything as is in my predictions. This is so funny. The trailer came out today because I literally just posted my updated power rankings. I'll tag it on this video for you if you want to check it out. But I do have the two actresses in their respective categories right now for nomination. I've got Jonathan Bailey right outside of it. Fierro has a huge uptick in his screen time in Act 2, or I should say stage time in Act 2. And I assume that will translate to screen time here, which could be great news for Jonathan Bailey. He got nominated at the Screen Actors Guild last year, and he was barely even in the first one. I mean, he was in a few pretty prominent scenes, but not obviously to the screen time level of the two leads. So I'm excited about this. I think John M. Chu for director could be in the mix. You know, the musical kids are going to freaking be in line. They might camp out weeks in advance to see this thing. I mean, this is going to be, the fans are going to come out for this big time. It's going to make a ton of money at the box office. I think the first one made over like 750 million. Obviously, I mentioned the 10 nominations. I mean, it was wildly successful. I think this one could be even bigger. I really, really liked the Wicked for Good trailer. I was thinking about doing this thing, and this will be the first one I'm doing it where I grade the trailer out of 10. Just the trailer. Obviously, we haven't seen the movie. So when the movie comes out, I'll be doing a whole review and score of the film like I always do. But in grading the Wicked for Good trailer, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10, a solid 8, because it gave me goosebumps. I love seeing those characters. It looked a lot like everything I loved in the first one, with possibly even correcting some of the things I didn't like. And I do love the darker, kind of stranger story that we get in Act 2. And I just hope it lands with audiences and that John M. Chu makes it palatable for everybody else, the general audiences. And I think he will based on that trailer. I'm really excited about it. What did you guys think of the trailer for Wicked for Good? Thanks so much for tuning in to this trailer reaction. Make sure you subscribe, and I will see you guys next time in the garage.